I would now like to request Dr. Alka Pandey to the stage and say a few words about the book, please.
Good evening, everybody, and namaskar. I'm actually overwhelmed by what my publisher said. Thank you, Kapish, for those wonderful, kind words. You've made my day, my evening, and thank you. Of course, I'm going to thank all of you again, but thank you all for being here. Body Sutra really is interrogating the myriad manifestations of the Indian body through the cultural construct, whether it is philosophical, physical, erotic, emotional, or even a body of memory. The body as a site of identity and representation. In the Body Sutra, I kind of celebrate, valorize the body, and encapsulate also within it the spiritual and the temporal body in its many manifestations. The best way I can talk of the evolution of the human body is from a little canto in the Brihadanayak Upanishad, which said, "In the beginning it was the self alone, in the shape of a person, Purusha, he. He is looking around, saw nothing but his self. He first said, 'This is I.' Therefore he became I by name. But he felt no delight. He wished for a second. He was so large as man and wife together. He then made this self to fall into two parts, and thence arose husband Pati and wife Patni. He embraced her. Over time, the artistic representation of the body developed its own iconography, developing from the canonical Shilpa Shastras, where the idealized body becomes more corporeal. I moved to the classical perfection in the Gupta age, when the sensuous and the sacred came together. The subject, naturally, is encyclopedic in content. The book is a mere taster of the vast Brahmand, or the world in which the body is situated. The book traces the shifting patterns of the representations of the body through 5,000 years of history, from the ancient to the contemporary. Therefore, the Body Sutra gives an extraordinary insight into India's pluralistic and diverse culture. With the underpinnings of the Rasa theory, which emerges from the Natya Shastra, the weaving together of prose, poetry, and art become the focus of this book. Body Sutra, in many ways, is not just my own work, and at this point, I want to bring in all my wonderful young team, which helped me a lot in creating this beautiful book. I want to sincerely thank my intern, Julia Trujillo, who came here all the way from Paris and lived in India for 4 years and is now working in Korea. She helped me source some very unusual images, which you will see in the book. Dilpreet Bhullar, who helped me finding new texts. Neha Mathurani, with whom I searched for many sensual selections of poetry, both from the vernacular and mainstream Indian English texts and translations. And Rashmi Kapoor, who drew the timeline for the different sections of the book. I want to thank my publisher, Kapish Mehra, who spoke so beautifully that he almost made me feel like crying today. I saw him as a very young man who was learning the ropes of the business when his father was in the process of handing over, and I'm so glad that he has taken over the complete reins of the company, and I see a great future for this book and future books. I also want to thank Dibakar Ghosh, who has stood as a sentinel at every outpost in this colossal project. Thank you, Dibakar, wherever you are. Thank you very much. I see you right at the back. To my friend, the ever-animated Falguni Gokhale, who gave the book the visual aesthetics. To Jyotsna Mehta, who came in at the last minute and made me rethink certain key issues, thereby enriching the book. I'm indeed very, very grateful. And now I come to my very immediate family, to my husband Mukul Joshi, who's always been a pillar of strength, a very high maintenance husband, but always there for me. My daughter Mandakini, vibrant, charismatic, artistic, complex, but who fills my life with vibrant challenges. To my father, J.C. Pandey, who is present here today to bless me, I've had many, many interesting discussions with him on the Ramayana, which makes it very, very beautiful, this journey of ours at the tail end of our lives. My sister Tripti Pandey Desai, who's been a source of great comfort after the death of my mother last year. To all the poets, writers, and artists who have contributed particularly to the modern and contemporary sections of the book, I express a wealth of gratitude. I would like to thank my office boys, Ravi Rawat, Rahul Singh, and my assistant Saurabh Rai, with whom I would have been dead. The number of printouts, the number of spiral bindings which have gone into the innumerable drafts of this book. My staff at the Visual Arts Gallery, Suprabha Nayak, Aditi, Tandon, Nishi Chitale, Kushal Singh, and my very young intern, Arundhati Mitra, they have seen the rough side of my stress and they are still with me, speaks a lot for them. Thank you for being with me. Above all, to Manpreet Chadda of Wave Group and his wife Shanam Chadda of Intelligent Aging, who put the wind under the wings of the project to help create this publication. And all of you, my friends, and my close relatives, my brothers, my sisters, my bhabis, who have all braved the traffic, Delhi traffic, left work early to be here with me to celebrate this evening. Indeed, I am very grateful. I can't take all your names because the evening will go with it, but you all know I mean it from the bottom of my heart. My special thanks to the panelists for today, Dr. Swarnamalya Ganesh, who has come all the way from Chennai to be here with us. Shri Acharya Srivats Goswami, who's come all the way from Vrindaban. All I can say is Radhe Radhe and Hari Kripa that he is here today. To my dear friend Arshia Sethi, who's leaving for Japan in the next hour. And she's here to moderate this discussion, to make it an enriching experience of learning and sharing the beauty of the body. I dedicate this book in the ever-loving memory of my mother, the late Kamla Pandey, who infused into me the love for the arts and everything beautiful. Especially to my Tauji, I hope he has reached in time. He's coming all the way from Gurgaon to bless me. And I only want to end. Can I have my book which is lying there? I'm so sorry, I'm behaving like a bride's mother with the bag with all the change. But this is what happens. I just want to read one thing from the book. I want to end with this lovely excerpt, a lovely translation. Thanks to my father, I have learnt a lot about the Ramayana. And I want to talk about the beauty, to set the mood of the body, the beauty which comes through the anguish of Ram as he searches for Sita when Ravan abducts her. This is a particularly lovely translation. He talks to the Bilva tree. Where is she, the woman whose breasts are like your fruits, who is as delicate as your new shoots in her yellow silks? O palm tree, take pity on me and tell me if you have seen that beautiful woman. Rose apple tree, my beloved's complexion has the hues of your fruit. You must have seen her. Tell me where she is. Little dear, you must know where the doe-eyed Sita is. Is she with you in the forest? O best of elephants, Sita has thighs like your trunk. You must know where she is. So this is the unabashed, sensual beauty of India, which we all celebrate, and we're going to celebrate this evening, the human body. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to invite our esteemed panel, Shri Acharya Srivatsa Goswami, Dr. Swarnamalya Ganesh, Dr. Arshia Sethi, and Shri Kapish Mehra on the stage, along with Dr. Pandey, to release the book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Geetu. Namaste, good evening. This is Arshia Sethi. Just in case you cannot see the nameplate written here. And I'd like to begin this evening by congratulating Kapish and Alka for coming up with a wonderful work. I had the privilege of reading it in a black and white print before this gorgeous, luscious, beautifully colored, beautifully printed, beautifully designed book came out. And I must tell you, everybody who has it or buys it is in for a treat, because the subject is such that you will be turning pages, and the material is such that you're going to be totally awestruck by it as you read. So, श्रीवत्स गोस्वामी जी, मैं आपसे एक छोटा सा सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ कि हमने जो डिवाइन बॉडी को रूप दिया, वो एक तरह से अपने रूप के अनुसार दिया, उससे ग्रैंडर दिया. सो कई हाथ हैं या कई सर हैं या कई कैपेसिटीज़ हैं, पर रूप तो जैसे हमको अपना दिखा था वैसे ही हमने दिया था. तो ये ऐसी क्या बात है कि हम इतनी हिमाकत कर सकते हैं कि इंसानी रूप भगवान को देते हैं. सॉरी, आप अदर वन लेना चाहते हैं? हेलो, हाँ, अदर वन इज ऑल्सो. यस, एब्सोल्युटली.
एक्चुअली क्या है कि ये इंसान की मजबूरी है कि वह कोई भी अतिमानवीय और अमानवीय भाषा, प्रतीक, रूप को समझ नहीं सकता. मनुष्य सोचता तो है कि मैं 84 लाख योनि में सर्वोपरि हूँ, किंतु उसका प्रेडिकमेंट यही है कि उसकी सीमा मानवीय है. तो अगर वो ईश्वर की भी कल्पना करेगा तो वो मानवीय रूप में ही होगी. और जब ईश्वर की यात्रा जब मानव की तरफ होती है और जब उसमें यात्रा को हम पूर्ण विराम देने चाहते हैं या सर्वोपरि शिखर पर ले जाते हैं, कहते हैं कि कृष्णस्तु भगवान स्वयं. तो यात्रा शुरू हुई मीन से, कच्छप से, नरसिंह से, वामन से, राम से. कृष्ण को ही क्यों हमने सर्वोपरि माना? कृष्णस्तु, इतना डेफिनेटिव असर्शन कैसे हुआ? और उसका कारण केवल एक ही था कि ही इज जस्ट ए किड नेक्स्ट ब्लॉक. ये जो श्रृंगार की प्रक्रिया है वो दो तरफा है. श्रृंगार को हमने लिया कहाँ से, सीखा कहाँ से? मनुष्य को हर काम सीखना पड़ता है, चलने बोलने, खाने पीने से लेके. श्रृंगार तो बहुत ही सूक्ष्मता से सीखा हुआ विज्ञान है. और वह विज्ञान हमको जो जीवन की जितनी भी कलाएं हैं, सकल कलादि गुरु जिसको हम ईश्वर कहते हैं, वहाँ से ही प्रारंभ होती हैं. और वो जब हमको श्रृंगार की धारा में डालते हैं तो हम वहाँ से जो श्रेष्ठतम है, जो सर्वोच्च है, जो पूर्ण है, उसको हम अप्रॉक्सीमेट करने की चेष्टा करते हैं. हम कर नहीं सकते क्योंकि वो तो केवल ईश्वर में ही होगा, किंतु हम उसका प्रयास करेंगे और वहाँ से सीखते हैं. किंतु वो होगा हमारे ही रूपक में, हमारे ही रूप में होगा. वो और दूसरे रूप में भाएगा नहीं, हमको भाएगा नहीं.
Varnmalya here can talk about a human body that was shackled by law and eventually destroyed by law, and much of her work today is in the recreation of the art of the traditional woman dancer, the Devadasi, who performed a earlier version or a subaltern version of Bharatanatyam. That's how it's described, Sadar. You have worked, performed, researched, studied, written and danced about body and law. So we'd like you to say a little bit on that subject as well.
Thank you, Arshia ji. As I was looking at these images and sort of the chronology of how India and Indians and Indian thought is viewing the body, what emerged is, I'd agree with Alka ji when she says there is no idealized body, in the sense every experience is unique in itself. However, I think from time to time, we have to acknowledge that apart from the cultural body, there is also the social body. And to me, as a practitioner of dance, initially for many, many years, I was engaged with the cultural body alone because the art per se introduces you to viewing of the body as an experience, becoming so aware of the body to a point where you learn to forget it. So the body becomes conscious and then you lose sight of the body as a practitioner. And that is how art is imparted. That's the way Indian art is imparted.
आखिरी सवाल मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ और स्ट्रेट फ्रॉम हर परफॉर्मेंस में ड्रॉ कर रही हूँ उसको, पर वो अपने आप में एक अकेला नहीं है. आपने जितने भी क्लासिकल डांस परफॉर्मेंसेस देखे हैं उसमें आप ये देखते हैं कि भक्ति भी है और श्रृंगार भी ऐसा है कि उसे रति श्रृंगार का ही दर्जा दिया जा सकता है. कैसे ये दोनों बातें हम मिला सकते हैं in the human body, with the descriptions being detailed and physical, erotic and sensual, we are still thinking bhakti. उस body का हम नहीं सोच रहे हैं, उस body के beyond सोच रहे हैं.
Actually, this whole concept of bhakti is nothing but to serve. And it is served to maintain and sustain the relationship, whether in the human domain or with the divine. And when you are serving, you want to offer the best out of love. And for the human being, there is nothing more important and nothing more precious than the body. And the body manifests itself in the ultimate sense, in the most sensuous way. And that's why Narada, when he defines the best form of bhakti, he says, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uttama. You serve the Lord of senses through your senses. It is not a sense negating discipline, but bhakti is, as Jayadev says, Yadi Kam Kalasu Kutuhalam Hari Smarane Rati. Rati. Rati of the divine, spiritual kind and rati of the sensual kind. And both are seamlessly together. There's
and
no
the
division.
body is the medium.
Body is the medium.
Medium. Yeah. And once again, what level do you want to pitch your body at is your choice. The agency aspect comes in. I think this has been a very interesting discussion. I've just looked at the clock and we've overshot by about 5.5 minutes. So this is when I should open it to the audience for any questions. I'm sure many thoughts are in your mind. I see artists here. I see performing artists here. I'm sure there are many questions that are coming up. Yes.
Congratulations, Alka. First of all, I've not read it, but from the pictures I can see it's a wonderful book. A question for you. As you probably know, in India we have a very big tradition, not only of responding to physical body and all these different manifestations that we see in your book, but also the body when it's absent. Jain tradition, you have the form. Even in Islam, for example, if you see that Panjavutta Masjid in Hyderabad, which is supposedly imprint of the Prophet, for example. Have you tried to deal with that in your book in some manner? Second thing, in India, we also have, outside you have the politics of body, which is all this gender issues and all of that. In India, we also have the opposite, which is, body as politics, Bharat Mata, this whole notion, which is seen as a very rigid, right-wing, blah, blah, blah. Have you tried to get into that as well in this book? Thank you.
That's a very interesting question, Vijay. In fact, Arsha, me and Swarnmalya were talking about it yesterday. I will answer part of your question, but I would like Srivatsji to answer the notion of the absent body within the spiritual discourse and also the representative discourse. Having said that, there is the concept of Anang, which I'm not going to get into at the moment. But when you are talking of the absent body, that is more a thing of the mind and the power of the Shakti of the Icha and the mind which we look at, and that is why I bring in the concept of the Anang when Shiva curses Kama. But having said that, when you look at the body politics, that becomes a completely different kind of book. My book is not really a political book, so therefore I have not really gone into that area in a very prominent way, but I have brought it in undercurrents when I'm looking at the contemporary body. through photography and through film, which you see, that is where the maximum manifestations of the body politic and in visual culture in particular is happening, whether it's the feminist discourse, the feminine discourse, or the discourse of identity politics. It's happening a lot through the medium of the lens-based work. So I have included a bit of that, but I'm not, that's for me a completely another area of research. And I didn't want to, bring in too many things. I just wanted to just do a more organic kind of development of the body as seen through time. But I'd like to ask Srivatji to, of the absent body.
I will just add to that the absence of body is not there in the spiritual discipline or in the aesthetic experience. That is for sure. But there is a very interesting journey within the divine body where it is struggling with the core identity of body as a gender. And trying to get over that, your work on Ardhanarishwar is one. But more than that, it emerges more, say, in the system of experiences like Vrindavan, where Krishna, time and again, is becoming a female, complete female. Yeah. No even an iota of malehood in him, like a Malaniya or this, or all female characters he will enact in his Leelas. But further it goes, that he still remains the male. So the duality, the politics of duality of gender still remains, and the struggle remains. So there is a merger. There are temples in Vrindavan called the Krishna Kali temples. In one image, but still it is very close to Ardhanarishwara. But then it comes to a logical conclusion that here in the divine or in the aesthetic mode, what is happening in that, what is the ultimate? The ultimate is not to give up your body, but give up the dehatmika buddhi, the body consciousness. And that's where, it comes to the level of Chaitanya. Antaha Krishnam Bahir Gauram Sango Pangastra Parshadam is a complete body where the male is inside and outside he is completely female. Although he was a perfect male figure, he was not even dressed as a female or anything. So that bhav deha is very, very crucial for this kind of thing. And another footnote on that, on the political side of body, that this whole human social body is nothing but the manifestation of the divine body. And that is not part of the discourse today. And it is integrally related, it is not disjointed, it is organic, one whole from head to the toe. And we forget some things which the spiritual discipline enjoins upon us, that when you worship the body of God, which is the most venerated part of the divine body? Is it the head or the feet? It's the feet. It's always the feet. And when the society is disconnected with its own roots and own principles and ways of thinking, the catastrophe is there. And that's what we have seen. And the second thing, the body of the Parampurusha, he is in the Karananava. He is in the ocean of this causal world, Is he standing or is he laying flat? So if the Lord is laying flat, whose body is the social body, then which part is higher or which is lower? None. They're all at the same level. So these are the interesting things, which we can draw if we relook at our tradition.